What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Fantasy Puck video. Today's video is going to be my top 5 must-draft centers for this coming season. We know the center position is super full, so I'm going to try and dig deep and give you some really good value plays, as well as an elite center that I think is following a ton in drafts right now. If you're enjoying the content so far in this preseason, guys, make sure you leave a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and for those looking to join the Fantasy Puck Patreon lead, the link will be in the description below. If you have any questions, head on over to our Discord, send myself or any of the other FP members a message, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Without further ado, guys, let's jump in to the must draft centers video. Starting off the must-draft centers video, the first player we have on this list is a super deep league guy, Barrett Hayton of the Arizona Coyotes. This is more of a 14 to 16 team type of player, but the former 5th overall pick had a great end to last season, and that's why we're so intrigued this year. Now, I know you're thinking Logan Cooley, Dylan Guenther, they're going to be there, but in my opinion, those are guys that are in their first and second year in the league, and they need some time to marinate. I don't really think they're going to be playing first-line minutes right away, but they may steal some power play time. But regardless, Barrett Hayton last year was line 1, power play 1, and over the last 40 games of the season, he played 19 minutes and 30 seconds, had 14 goals, 29 points, 102 shots, and a team best 68 individual high danger chances for. He was all over the ice. Clayton Keller, and Nick Schmaltz were dominating on that top line and doing very well in the power play. And this Arizona team was actually better than a lot of people thought last season. They've made some moves. They've made some additions. They should be a much better team this season. And if Barrett Hayton's getting line 1, power play 1 opportunity, you definitely want to be rostering him in those deeper leagues. He's currently not ranked right now on Yahoo. He's barely being drafted, and he's going completely overlooked. I think with Arizona's offense taking a jump last season, it should only get better this year. And I want Barrett Hayton, a high shooting, high goal scoring forward, on my roster. Continuing the trend with the later round picks, we have Wyatt Johnston of the Dallas Stars. Rookie season last year, put up 24 goals, 17 assists, and 160 shots. As a 19-year-old playing just 15 minutes, he played all 82 games. He had a very, very good season. Wyatt Johnston was a highly touted prospect back in junior in Saginaw. He kind of fell in the draft because he did have some injuries. I remember watching him with my hometown team. He was by far the best player. He led the OHL in scoring. Now the Stars have yet another really good first-round pick looking to pan out. And I want Wyatt Johnston on my deep league teams because of the upside we have here in this really, really good Dallas Stars offense. Now, they added Matt Duchene. I get it. Both Duchene and Johnson took about 400 faceoffs last year, and typically a center takes over 800. So that means there is going to be time split between both of them playing center and wing, and honestly, I can actually see them playing together. Hopefully, Johnson gets top 6 minutes. It looks like he will be on power play 2, which is not much of a concern given how strong he actually was in 5-on-5 last year. He's going to get dual position eligibility, and as I mentioned, he only took 400 faceoffs last year, so that even makes him more valuable. You want to have flexibility in your lineup. You want to have guys that play center and wing, and Wyatt Johnston will give you this. He had a pretty strong playoffs last season, 19 games played, 6 points, 55 shots, 2.9 shots per game, while playing around 17 minutes per night. Super impressive for a 19-year-old to come in his first year and make an impact in the regular season and in playoffs. I love this Dallas offense. I like Wyatt Johnston a lot. He's being slept on quite a bit. He's going undrafted in most 12-team leagues, but in those 14 to 16-team leagues, this is definitely a guy you want on your roster late in your drafts. As we continue to scale up the draft now, we have Sam Bennett of the Florida Panthers, someone I've been really high on for the last 3 seasons, and hopefully this is the year he finally stays healthy and breaks out. Last year, Sam Bennett's 82-game pace, 20 goals, 31 assists, 246 shots, 195 hits, and 45 blocks. This is with 0 power play 1 time. So he ended up putting up 51-point pace with 246 shots and almost 200 hits. He is a forward that will cover all the categories for you, and that's what you want to be doing when you're drafting players, especially this late. It just means he has a super high floor while also contributing to all the categories. But why do we like Bennett so much this season? Well, last year in playoffs, and that's a big indicator because these were do-or-die games, Bennett had the 5th most power play time on ice, just 3 minutes less than Aleksander Barkov, meaning he was the go-to guy in the top power play unit along the other very, very good players. We know Montour and Ekblad are out, and yes, that probably does hurt his value in the short term. With Montour and Ekblad out, he should be almost guaranteed power play 1 opportunities here. Now with Montour coming back in November, I still think Bennett will stay on that power play 1, but it adds another dynamic 70-plus point defenseman to this lineup that should only help generate more offense for Sam Bennett. Florida last season, the 10th best power play amongst all teams in the NHL, and even with injury, Sam Bennett every season finishes as a top 80 player in fantasy, and right now he's only being taken in 3% of drafts. So I want Sam Bennett on all my teams. We have him projected for the 38th best fantasy points per game amongst all skaters, and this is using Yahoo default scoring, and we also have him as the 71st best scoring player, and this is taken into account all 82 games. Now, I was super high on Kevin Fiala for my first 2 years of Fantasy Puck, and then he finally broke out. I'm hoping I'm right here with Sam Bennett. I like all the indications this season for Sam Bennett. I'm going to be drafting him in these 12-team leagues. You can take him with close to your last pick. He's not being drafted right now. Sam Bennett, he's my guy. Make sure you're drafting him. What a story Dylan Cozens was last season. I remember watching him in the World Juniors and absolutely lighting it up for Canada. And he came into his 3rd season with Buffalo last year and put up a huge season, scoring 31 goals, 68 points, 211 shots with a 48% face-off percentage. He averaged 60 minutes and 30 seconds average time on ice, which actually went up a lot near the second half of the season because of how strong he was playing. And he was also given power play 1 time. We know how good this Buffalo Sabres offense is, with Tage putting up 50 goals last season, and now Alex Tuch, Jeff Skinner. They're just littered with really young, talented players. And Dylan Cozens, we're hoping this season could be the Tage Thompson. He is locked in on that center 2 role behind Tage Thompson, and he's poised for another massive season. Now, his ADP is 140. He's going a lot earlier than that because so many people are on Cozens this season, and I honestly hesitated in putting him in here because of that. But we saw so many improvements last season. His goals per 60 improved from 0.6 to 1.4. His points per 60 improved from 1.8 to 3.1. And his shots per 60, which is my favorite stat, improved from 7.6 to 9.5. If we continue to see this progressive improvement from Cozens, he should be in line for a 30-plus goal campaign, which we project him for, and well over 200 shots, giving him an extremely strong floor. At ADP 140, he's an absolute steal, but again, he is going a lot higher than his ADP indicates, so keep that in mind when you're drafting him. Now, if you've been a fan of Fantasy Puck for a while, you know I don't really like to talk about players within the top 100 in my must-draft players list. I feel like when you win leagues, it's in those deeper picks, like pick 9, 10, and on, and you don't really win in those mid-round picks. But for Alex Barkov here, he is such a stud centerman that's falling so far in drafts that really makes no sense to me. He was a top 10 player last year, and now he's at ADP 60. It was kind of a weird season. I have Barkov in one of my big keepers leagues, and I'm going to keep him again this season. He missed 14 games and literally could not stay healthy for more than a month at a time, or even 2 weeks at a time. As a Barkov owner, I understand the frustration with taking him, but at ADP 60, the risk is priced in, but priced in way too much. 23 goals last season, 78 points, 208 shots, 30 power play points in 68 games. Very elite numbers across the board. When he was in the lineup, he was one of the best players in the entire league. It's just getting him in there was the main concern. His 82-game pace last season, 94 points, 250 plus shots, and 36 power play points. There's really no reason for this drop. Over the last 3 seasons, he's the 16th best point-getting player, and he has the 9th highest average time on ice. We know he plays in all those situations. He averaged over 21 minutes a night last season, and that's dealing with some injuries. So I love Barkov here. I love everything he does. For everyone who's in face-off leagues, he had the 11th most face-offs won over the last 3 seasons, and he also had the 19th most power play points for. Everything indicates how good this Florida Panthers team is. One of the best shot rates, one of the best goal rates in the entire season. In standard points leagues, Barkov's projected to be our 13th highest power or fantasy points per game. Again, this is on a per game basis. We do have him missing some games, as you can see below. We have him missing about 13 games this season, but still putting up massive numbers. I'm taking the risk on Barkov. I'm keeping him in my league. But in my redraft leagues, I definitely want to be looking at him in round 4 or 5 to really round out my center core. Thank you for watching the Must Draft Centers video. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing you all in the next one.